Hi guys, in this video I'm going to talk to you about your first lesson. Based on your comments, I have read that a lot of you are super stressed about meeting your new student and about your first lesson. So I hope that by the end of this video you will feel more confident about your first lesson and that you will know what to do. So the aim of my lessons is always to get to know my student. Why? Well, when I get to know my student, I will know what to prepare for my next lessons and how I can help them learn English. The first thing I would like to talk to you guys about is stress. First lessons are always stressful. For you, for your student, for me. And I often find that admitting that you're stressed or admitting that you see that your student is stressed is the first step to breaking this barrier of awkwardness. Once I admit this, I often see that my students start to relax a bit, we laugh about it, and we're able to move on. Keep in mind that your student will always be the one who's more stressed than you are. And that thought also helps me to have a little bit more confidence. And if I seem more confident, my student seems to relax. Most people are very embarrassed about their English, about their accents, about their level. So for me, it's also important to ensure that my students are as comfortable as possible. I made a video a while back about how to make your students feel comfortable on your lessons, and I will put a link in the description below and somewhere up here. So what do I do with my students on my first lesson? I get many questions about books, what curriculum I use, do I do some kind of assessment on my first lesson? And the answer is I don't do any of that. The most important thing for me is to get to know my students, and we do that by talking, spending time together, and getting to know one another. This often doesn't come from some list of generic questions or some method that I found online, but just through asking questions like, so what did you do this weekend? And they will tell me, I went to the mountains with my friends, and I will say, oh cool, so what mountains? And this is a great opportunity to then take out your tablet, your laptop, your phone, and use Google Maps or Google Images and ask your student to tell you a bit more about this weekend and to show you where they were. This often makes students feel a little bit more relaxed because they're using technology, so instead of focusing on grammatical structures, they can just show you pictures. Also, what happens is that students relax because this no longer has the format of some kind of a lesson, but they're just telling you about an interest that they have, and they're sharing something that they enjoy. I had a student who was extremely nervous on every lesson, to the point that she was really just like sweating. She wasn't able to answer the simplest of questions. She was forgetting simple vocabulary, and this wasn't because she didn't know the language, this was just because she was super stressed. And the minute I found out that she is super passionate about football, we had a major breakthrough. All of a sudden, she had no problem telling me about matches or games that she had been to or stadiums that she had visited. She was taking out her phone and showing me photos of merchandise that her friends had bought her for Christmases or birthdays. All of a sudden, she was telling me all of this information in the language that she was so petrified to speak in, just because she was talking about something that really interested her and something that she was passionate about. So no, I don't do textbooks, I don't follow a set curriculum, I don't do assessments unless I'm asked by their employer. My main goal is just to get to know my student and get them comfortable enough to speak in the language that they want to speak. So what if my student isn't chatty? What if we don't have anything to talk about? It can happen that you don't hit it off with your student, or that you don't have any ideas how to pull the conversation out. Or try as you might, your student just doesn't take the bait. You ask them a question about their weekend, asking them what they did, and they will reply with not much. In these cases, it's good to have a few things prepared beforehand. Not a lesson plan, but some 5 to 10 minute videos or articles that you can read together on your lesson. If you don't know your student and you don't know what might interest them yet, it's always good to prepare articles that are about local news, world news. Most people are interested in what's happening around them. During the coronavirus, this was super easy because there were loads of materials to use and students were very willing to talk about what is happening, how the coronavirus is impacting their lives and their friends' lives. I suggest a simple video for students who are beginners or who are struggling, and then articles for students who are a little bit more advanced. What I do is beforehand, I will go through these videos or articles and I will find vocabulary that I think my student might not know, or phrases that we could discuss. And then during our meeting, we look at how we can use this new vocabulary and these new phrases outside of our lesson. And we also discuss the topic that we were just reading or watching. It's always nice to have about 3 options prepared, and then based on the title, you could ask your student or give your student the option to choose one of them. I will link some of my favorite YouTube channels and news platforms in the description below. During each meeting, I highly recommend that you guys take notes. I sometimes forget to do this and then I kick myself later. Write down your ideas for your next meetings. Write down your students' most common mistakes, because all of this will be what will be the basis of your next lesson. What I like to do is towards the end of my lesson, if I have about 5 or 10 minutes, I will show my students what I wrote down. I will also, depending on where you took these notes, if it was on your laptop or if it was on a piece of paper, I will then send these notes to my student so they can have a look at them at home and prepare for the next lesson. Because on the next lesson, we can also start our lesson with the content that we did on our first lesson. And it's all written down, so then you will also remember what you did with them. So to recap, keep stress levels low. Focus your first couple of lessons on getting to know your student. Prepare materials, videos or articles before your lesson that you can whip out if you run out of ideas. And take notes, because these will be your materials for the next lesson. I hope that by now you are sighing a sigh of relief and that you now no longer feel stressed for your next or for your new meeting. Definitely let me know how your meeting went in the comments below. And till next time, goodbye.